Carl. Let's hear for Carl Van Horn. So thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes behind here. Somebody get Gil Medina a seat. This is urgent. So you don't want to write down from the first row here in the loge section, courtside. We've got 14 transition committees, each with about a half a dozen or so chairs, and each with somewhere between 15 and 35 probably members. They're all important. I had a conversation earlier with the law and criminal justice and social justice group, another extraordinary group like this one is. A combination of Sheila Oliver, who's our extraordinary Lieutenant Governor-elect, First Lady-elect Tammy Murphy, and myself. I think among the three of us, we've kicked off each one of the 14 working group sessions. Words you've all heard, but just for the record to say, stronger means growing, and for our taste that means reigniting some of the engines that we used to dominate and call our own. The two big ones, Tim, that we talk most about are the innovation economy and the infrastructure economy. They're naturals for us. The good news is we still have an anchor in each, but we have a lot of work to do to get them back up and to punch back up at the weight that we know they can. The economy is basically, we haven't lost our location, which is great news. So this is all about taking complete advantage of our God-given location. Again, you've heard me say this before, that 49 other states would die to swap in with us. And that's a whole rebuilding renaissance in the state. Roads, bridges, rails, tunnels. The green economy is a huge element of this. It sits with a leg in each of those two, innovation and infrastructure economies. And as we rebuild the state, we have to remember that it was built on the backs of organized labor, and it will be and must be rebuilt on the back of organized labor. Not just built, but painted and wired and served and protected and taught and all the other elements that go across the spectrum of our brothers and sisters in labor. A fairer economy doesn't have one or two moves on the chessboard. It's a whole series of steps. And again, this is a big element of the work that you will do and for which we are incredibly thankful, whether it's wages or benefits or proper treatment of organized labor, or college affordability, or gender pay gaps, of which we've got substantial. It's really in the criminal justice and law enforcement piece, but it has to be said that we have the widest white, non-white gap of persons incarcerated in America. So we're not as strong as we need to be, and we're profoundly unfair. And to push back and get those back to where they should be is not just your central element of responsibility, but it's also it's going to be central to our governing selves in what is only, by the way, not that we're counting 47 days from now. I believe we have it in hours and minutes. I'll defer to skills. If we're successful, and God willing we will be, it's in the middle skills job. So that's why we talked a lot about finding the money to get free community college and reigniting the vocational, technical notion in this state. I was the U.S. ambassador in Germany. They do that in their sleep, outside of the trades, and you all do it. I'm looking at John Ballantyne, who represents the carpenters. The trades do it really well in the state, and I've had the honor to visit a lot of their academies and workshops, but beyond that, it's spotty. So that educational element matters a lot. Some would lead you to believe that a growth agenda and a fairness agenda are at odds with each other. And the data and the history and the proof would suggest the exact opposite. Meaning that if we can reignite fairness in this state, and we can make this state meaningfully fairer than it is today, regardless of how we do it, wages, benefits, criminal justice reform, fully funding public education, whatever the means are, that directly contributes to growth. These are not, I'm gonna give up something by giving you something. These lean on each other. These are 1 + 1 = 3 opportunities. And for all the above, I am personally, we are deeply appreciative. Hell being rained down on us from Washington, to use a diplomatic phrase. It's, in healthcare, you think It's like whack-a-mole. Every time you think you got it solved, it pops up somewhere else, and now there's a significant element of this tax bill. This tax bill would be devastating to the state of New Jersey and to states that look like us, and this ain't Republican or Democrat. I would just say to anybody who's representing folks in this state at all levels of government, this is as clear a choice as we'll ever have. Either you're with the GOP, Donald Trump establishment, or you're representing your constituents. It's black and white. It's not related to party lines. Or, if I may, in the social justice arena, or in the environmental arena, or in the public education arena. So the work that you're doing in a static world, in a static reality in Washington and around the globe would have already been important enough, but it becomes doubly important in the broader context. I'll wind my way out of here. I have a lot of friends in this room, so please don't be offended if I didn't get a chance to say thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Hello, everybody. Everyone good? Thank you. Yo, you got a seat for you. Court side. Thank you. Nice to see you all. Gordon. Love you. Jenny. Be well. Guys. Hey, Paul. See you back there. Well, that was quick. Hey, man. Good job. My mother will always say, don't try it for ourselves. Thank you, folks. Thank you.